The West Pennine Moors cover approximately 90 square miles of moorland and reservoirs in Lancashire and Greater Manchester, England. At first glance, the West Pennine Moors may seem desolate and forgotten, but if you spend the time searching into the history of the area, you will find the mysteries of Neolithic forgotten people. A burial mound from the late Bronze Age which has not been excavated, and its archaeology is possibly undisturbed. Burial cairns, some from around 1100 BC. A beacon which on the 19th of July 1588 was lit to warn the population that the Spanish Armada had been sighted off the Lizard in Cornwall. The remains of a hall from the Middle Ages once owned by John de Radcliffe. Lead mines dating from 1690. Jubilee Tower on Beacon Hill, which was completed in 1898 to commemorate Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee. A monument built for a traveller who was brutally murdered on Rivington Moor at noonday, November the 9th, 1838, in the 20th year of his age. A war memorial for the crew of the RAF Wellington bomber that crashed there during the Second World War. An old farmhouse, farm remains and a garden grotto now overgrown with woodland, and many more fascinating places with a forgotten story tied to its remains.
Okay.
Anglezarke. First, I'll cover how Anglezarke, which is a large expanse of moorland with evidence of Bronze Age settlements, acquired its name. Anglezarke is derived from the Old Norse name Analth and the Old Norse a hill pasture or shealing. The elements together mean Analth's hill pasture. The earliest spelling of the name was in 1202 when it was recorded as. By 1225 it had become. In 1351 and by 1559. But how did the Scandinavians arrive in the West Pennine Moors? Irish kings of the year attacked the Vikings at the port in Dublin from the north and the south, and they drove the Vikings out of the area. The defeated Dublin Vikings sailed across the sea to Wales. They were opposed by Welsh forces who drove the Norsemen into the vicinity of Chester. Norsemen and other Scandinavian compatriots from Ireland and Scotland, as well as some coming directly from Scandinavia, went on to settle in western Lancashire, on the Isle of Man and in Cumbria. After the expulsion from Dublin, Vikings led by chieftain named Ingmund landed along the North Wirral coastline between the Lighthouse and Lingham, Milos, West Kirkby and Thurstaton. They spread as far as South Chester and Mersey to populate southwest Lancashire, where they met other large groups of Vikings. There has been a recent study into the origins of the Vikings led by Professor Mark Jobling. Towns and villages indicate that these areas of intense Viking settlement played a major part in the study. For instance, Thingwall is a name of a Viking assembly, and the only two places with such names are in the northwest, one in Liverpool and one in Wirral. Other Viking place names include Skemersdale, Formby, Crosby, Toxteth and Croxteth. Even Tranmere, and accordingly Tranmere Rovers FC, is a Viking name. In Old Norse, Tranmere means heron sandbank. The results of the study, led by Mark Jobling at Leicester University, Professor Stephen Harding and Professor Judith Jensch of Nottingham University, published in Molecular Biology and Evolution in February 2008, shows that up to 50% of the blood in men in Wirral, Merseyside and West Lancashire is specifically linked to Scandinavian ancestry. This is about the same as modern Orkney, well known for its Viking links. From generation to generation, DNA of the male Y chromosome is passed along the parental ancestry. The team of researchers took advantage of the fact that the surnames are also passed along the same lines. This method proved to be especially powerful, being applied not to individuals but to whole populations. Professor Mark Jobling had to select 100 volunteers who possessed a surname pointing to Viking links and whose male ancestors lived in the same area for as long as one could trace. To this end, the team of researchers used historical records that included tax lists dating to the time of Henry VIII, as well as a list of inhabitants who had promised to help pay for a priest in Ormskirk in 1388. The surnames included Taylor, Forshaw, Rigby, Rimmer, Robinson, Oxton and Melling. If you have one of these surnames, it is very likely that you have Viking blood. If you know of any ancient ancestral Viking history within your family which correlates with these surnames, please comment below and let us know. In the next video, the mysteries surrounding some of the ancient structures and how they came to be. If you like the video, please subscribe.